Hey everyone, so next on the show, I wanted to take a look at a brand new Australian film called Ascendant that is in cinemas right now. And this is an absolutely fantastic film. If you are a fan of Christopher Nolan, then you are going to want to listen to this review because we may have found Australia's answer to Christopher Nolan in the shoes of director Antoine Furlong. Ascendant is one of those movies that just absolutely surprises you. Now, this is a 100% Australian film, but you would not know that by watching the film unless you're a huge fan of some of the cast that's in this, including Charlotte Best. This film feels like an American film. It feels international. It's the kind of film that you really get the feeling that people in America and the UK are absolutely going to fall in love with. Of course, a lot of people tend to forget that the Matrix was a bit of an Australian film, and Ascendant is definitely an Australian film, and it is in that realm as well. It's kind of hard to pinpoint a genre for the film because basically it tells the story of Aria Wolf, Charlotte Best. She's on holidays with her family in China, including her dad, Richard, played by Johnny Pazlowski, and suddenly she finds herself kidnapped and she wakes up alone in a lift that's in a building that's still under construction. Now, pretty soon a screen appears, and she realizes that the person that has got her and her father is a guy called Yaroslav, played by Alex Menglet. Now, she doesn't know why she has been grabbed. Obviously, there is something coming into play because soon words like CIA are being mentioned, and her father is being tortured for information. Now, I don't want to spoil too much about this film. It does go into a very sci-fi kind of element, but for me, this almost felt more like a horror thriller. The scenes with Aria in the lift, they feel very much like the first Saw film. And I mean that in the best possible terms because I love the original Saw film. They feel claustrophobic. You're unsure what's happening. You're about as sure as what's happening as what she is. So it really, really works from that point of view that this is all from Aria's point of view. As an audience, you're just as confused about things as she is. Now, the performances in this film are brilliant. Charlotte Best, you probably know her from things like Puberty Blues and Home and Away. She comes into her own with this film. She takes her acting to a whole new level, and all I will say is that Hollywood producers are going to be knocking on her door once they see this film. Johnny Pazlowski is great as well as her father. He has this really, really tough job of kind of acting off a screen, in a sense, for most of this film. He can't see what is happening to his daughter like his character can, so he does an absolutely amazing job as well. And Alex Menglet as the bad guy, well, he is menacing. He really, really kind of like conjures up those thoughts of Silence of the Lambs and things like that with this absolutely fantastic performance. The other person I really need to praise for this film is the director, Antoine Furlong. I said before that this film feels like he is the Australian answer to Christopher Nolan, and I meant that. This film goes into all these other realms. There is a sci-fi element in it. Again, I do not want to spoil this film by talking too much about that, but that realm takes this whole film into a whole new level. It's like X-Men level, the way that it goes. But Furlong is such a fantastic director. He has teamed up with his cinematographer so amazingly well to shoot some of these scenes. Of course, there is some stuff that we see in flashbacks and flash forwards outside of the lift, but for a majority of this film, it is filmed inside the lift. And to be creative with your shots when you've got such a limited claustrophobic space is such a difficult thing to do as a filmmaker, and Furlong does it so well here. There's these amazing shots of the camera like going outside of the lift into the shaft and coming around and going over the top of it, and you just know that Frank Flick, the cinematographer, has been largely involved with that as well. But the whole vision of this movie from Antoine Furlong, and the fact that working with such a low budget, they make this film look like $100 million film. It's just absolutely fantastic. I really think that, and I've seen some great Australian films so far this year, but probably the one now that's made me the most excited is this film, is Ascendant, because I really want to see where Furlong goes in the future as a director, because I think that we've discovered a very, very special director here. I love the fact that this film, although it's showing in multiplexes here in Australia, it has a very artistic feel to it. It has that Christopher Nolan artistic feel there, and I think that is so exciting to see a director. And if you've already heard our interview with Antoine Furlong, you'll know that he is a director who grew up in the film industry with a dad who was an animal wrangler. He grew up around film sets and things like that, and this film has purely come out of his love for cinema. He went away from cinema for a while and went and worked in the corporate world, but this film is his passion project. He has been wanting to make a film like this for a long, long time, and you can tell that this film has been made by someone who was in love with the project and was passionate about the project. This wasn't just somebody looking for a paycheck at the end of a shoot, and that shows. This film is absolutely amazing. Now, the only downside I found to the film was, and I'm still debating this in my mind, when I first walked out of the cinema, I was kind of disappointed with the ending. But having thought about it overnight, I've realized that I want to see more. I think this film ends in such a way that it's kind of set up for a sequel. It really feels like Aria's journey is just starting at the ending of this film. And at first I thought that the ending used the science fiction fantasy area of this film and kind of used it as a cop-out. But the more I think about it, no, it's setting up for something that's happening in the future. So I've actually done a full 180 with my thoughts on the ending in the last 24 hours since I've seen the film. And now I love the ending, and I really, really want to see where this goes. I think there's so much more of this story to be told, and I don't know whether that's with a streaming series or whether it's going to be another film, but I definitely want to see where this film goes. Like I said, Charlotte Best is fantastic as Aria. I would love to see her be able to reprise that role. And I also want to see Antoine Furlong, where he goes with his career. I would love to see him do a follow-up film to this, but if he goes off and does another movie that's completely different, I'm pretty sure I'll be excited to see that as well, because I think that he really is one of the directional finds of this year, 2021. So look, go along and see Ascendant. I'm giving it 4 out of 5. I think it is an absolutely fantastic kind of thriller, sci-fi, horror, so many genres in there. Go along and give this film a shot. If you like your movies where it's kind of like really explained to you and delivered to you on a plate, you may not like this film because it does require a little bit of thinking. But if you really want to go and see a film that is an exciting piece of cinema, then definitely go along and see Ascendant, because I think it's fantastic. 4 out of 5 for me.